Greetings, I'm Pillar Nexus, Ancient Gladiator, today with Pillar Loves Tabletop Games. And if you know me, you know I love my interstellar conquest and adventures. So today, the Succession Wars. BattleTech Grand Strategy Game. Where BattleTech can be as zoomed in as 1v1, this is zoomed the hell out to the inner sphere. Starting in 3026, where the five great houses are fighting for control of the inner sphere. The goal of the game is to control four out of the five house capitals. Atreus and the Pre-Worlds League. Let's see here. Where is it? Sion in the Compellan Confederation. New Avalon in the Federated Sons. Luthien in the Draconis Combine. And Tharkad in the Lyran Commonwealth. To control a house, you have to capture or kill the leaders of that house. Doing so will eliminate that player from the game, but you might want to keep them around to actually go run the admin on the money and all that. But as soon as one person gets four, they win. So as part of the setup for the game, you'll need to consult the rulebook and Order of Battle 3025. Each house will have their house units. They have a number at the bottom right. Some units start with a pre-war strength greater than or less than 4. If they are lost, they can be rebuilt, and they are rebuilt to strength 4. Your house units are going to have a darker version of your house color versus your mercenaries. Mercenaries are lighter. They are cheaper to rebuild, but mercenaries have a tendency of being just a bit on the flaky side. You'll start out with some jump ships to move your leaders and units. You'll have manufacturing centers that start out undamaged. Can be damaged and eventually destroyed unless you repair them. You'll start out with 0 on your tech chart. You'll start with a hand of 4 event cards. If you're playing as House Liao, 2 of them will be Death Commandos. In addition, Liao starts with a couple briberies that they can do for free on leaders. And then you'll start with money based on the combined numbers of every region you control. Plus, and this is the one thing I need to get some clarification on, whether or not you start with your admin on your leaders or not. Leaders have 4 numbers going for them. On the top left, let's see here, up there. Top left is combat rating. They can increase a single unit's rating by that number once for combat. The next number to that is their military rating, which is how many combinations they can create with their friendly units. Combining their factors together. On the upper right, the first number is their admin rating. That's how much more taxes you get for having them around in your regions. And the number after that is their loyalty. When players make bribery rolls, they have to roll above that number to make them switch sides. makes the battle harder, and also gives the player another in towards controlling your house and kicking you out. Also, neutral units will be set up. Comstar is in the center, along with one of Merrick's leaders. For lore reasons, I have yet to find out. Comstar's units are strength 7. And there are 4 of them. Good luck. There are also the periphery states of the Mercenaries Federation, the Bandit Kingdoms, and the Outworlds Alliance. As part of your setup, you will need to... missed one somewhere. Yeah, I think these are... I forget where these were supposed to be. Yeah, as part of your setup, you'll need to shore up your border defenses with your opponents. Anything you share with periphery states and your opponents. Although, I'm not sure, because it's... The wording's weird about you don't need to shore up defenses against the periphery states if you're the only one bordering them. But I would do it just in case, because of what could happen later. So yeah, you'll start with your units, your event cards, your money. Money in this game is referred to as C-bills. We got 1s, and 5s, and 10s, and 20s, and millions. For scale, in-universe BattleTech, the Atlas AS7D is 10 million. So I'm not sure how that scales in the game, in this game, but it kind of gives you an idea of the kind of money you're working with. If anything, they might want to add an extra 0 mentally to that. So once everyone's set up, and setup order is all the neutrals and periphery. Then Merrick, Steiner, Kurita, Davian, Liao. Because that might affect which units you place where. We go to the first turn of the game. Each round is in universe considered 3 months long, and the game is considered to start in 3026. So if you wanted to put a hard timer on this game, 1 year is 4 rounds, and 25 years later, clan invasion kicks in. So after about 100 rounds, if the game isn't over, then the game should be over. Period. But the turn order for each round will be Liao, Merrick, Steiner, Kurita, Davian. What you do on your turn is, if you have less than 4 cards in hand, refill to 4. You can trade, sell, give cards away, but the most cards you can have in your hand at a given time is 4. Some cards will say maybe played at any time. You can do things like advance your tech level, or create a new mercenary unit. There's a bunch of extra little mercenaries, like the 7th Cav, that can be bid on, or that can be created. If you run out of these, I'm wondering if the good house rule to do is just place a mercenary contract up for bid, or make up a completely new mercenary unit. But yeah, some cards may be removed from the game. Otherwise, they're put into the discard pile, and if the deck runs out, they're reshuffled. Once you fill your hand, you go to spending your money that you collected from the previous turn. What you can buy is a new house unit. So you might already have a unit of a certain type, and it starts with its pre-war strength. Some are lucky enough to be the same either way. Building new units, rebuilding lost units. Go to your manufacturing centers, and they don't show up there until later. You put the ones you build aside, and then when it gets to that point, they'll deploy there. There's no limit to the number of units you can have in a given spot. There is a limit to how many units you can carry in a jump ship, which we'll get to. Yeah, building a new or rebuilding an old house unit is 8. Rebuilding a mercenary unit that's been destroyed is 6. And I'll put it at its 4 strength. Upgrading an existing unit. If you have a unit that is less than 4 at your manufacturing center, they say remove it from the board, but I say put it under your manufacturing center so you don't forget where it goes. And then switch its strength to the 4 side. And then when you go to deploy units, it'll become available again. You can buy conventional units for 3. Oh yeah, upgrade costs 5. But yeah, you can build conventional units for 3. These represent infantry, vehicles, all the support stuff to make non-mech units work. However, they are ill-efficient for moving via jump ship, so you kind of build them on your manufacturing centers to shore up your defense. You can build a jump ship. The jump ships come in 4 values. 5, 3, 2, and 1. The more the capacity, the higher the cost. But you get more value for your capacity by building the higher capacity. If you're on a friendly controlled region without a manufacturing center, you can spend 40 and build a manufacturing center there. You cannot deploy your new units at the manufacturing centers you build or capture on the same turn. So keep that in mind. If your center is damaged, you can spend 20 to repair it. Whether or not it's repaired before you deploy, I'm not 100% sure on. I could double check and be sure. It just says a new unit cannot be placed on a center that is placed or captured. But I think it would also extend to the damaged centers, even if they end up repaired anyway. Presumably it takes that time to repair them that they're not going to be able to also build in the process. That would make sense to me. And finally, you can spend $5 on a technology roll. You take your D10. The game uses D10s, and honestly, the dice that came with the game have seen better days. I also want an opinion of those ones, and that's why I got my own. All these. So it's $5 per tech roll. You can do any number that you can afford. Let's roll. You need a 7+ to improve it by 1. If you roll a 10, it improves another 1. But once you're done spending, then you go on to movements. A jump ship can move up to 3 regions. Uh, Depending on your tech level, it can improve mobility. There's a whole chart for um, the technology scale. And once you get up to 15, then your jump ships can go even further. If your tech level drops to -7, however, they're only moving by 2. But yeah. It's part of the process of moving your jump ship. You can pick up and drop off any units of the process. You cannot daisy chain mech units by moving them with one jump ship and then using that jump ship to move them further. Units are limited to one pickup and drop off each turn. Mech units only need 1 capacity. Conventional units require 2 because it takes a lot of equipment to keep them going. Leaders don't take any space, but you do need to move them around for where you're going to need them. You can move through the regions you control. You can move through any region that's simply controlled. You cannot move through a region that is occupied. You can move through Terra with an empty jump ship, which is what Merrick has to do to get Thomas out of there. But as soon as you enter Terra with actual military force, you get hit with a house-wide interdict. We'll get into Comstar shenanigans later. So let's say we move, say it's Karita, and we're moving the 3 wolf dragon units into Kentaras. Okay, so it moves in there. After you've done all your moves, you'll have to resolve all your fights. So, here's how combat works. Okay. So, you probably want to, make a note of what region you're fighting over. And then take all the units out of there. Including the jump ships, because they could be lost in the process. And just move them off to the side. Okay. So, you'll separate out your units for your side. Okay. You'll need 1 die for each individual unit. However, you can combine units together. If they have the same unit, if they're from the same unit, so like, even without Jamie Wolf, the Wolf Dragoons can still combine together, although it's probably not the same without them. If you have a house leader with any military capacity, they can combine friendly units together, regardless of what units they're originally from, or whether they're house units or mercenaries. A mercenary leader with military capacity, which is all of them, can combine only mercenary units together. If you combine units together and their strength is 10 or more, you'll have one automatic kill on your opponent. Otherwise, if you have any combat bonuses from your leader, you'll pick one of them and give them that bonus. So here, Jamie Wolf's going to give the bonus to one of the wolf dragons, make it an 8. And it's going to combine the other two together for a 10, which will be an automatic kill. Nathan Armstrong can combine Eridani Light Horse and the Lexington Combat Group together for 1, which will be an automatic kill. It's going to... I need to be absolutely sure of this. You can actually... the military, you can only use house. Combat. Yeah, I can still use this combat bonus. So, I'm going to make the Deneb Light Cavalry a 6 instead of a 4. So, 1 auto kill, a 6, and a 4. So, we'll roll for Wolf Dragons first. So, I need an 8. 8 or less. Okay. So, 1, 2 units on his side, on the mercenary side are going to die. We'll have 1 automatic here. We need a 6 for the armored cav. Got it. And a 6 for Deneb LC. No! So 1, 2. Okay. So each side is going to lose 2 units. If they are not at 4, flip them to their 4 side and put them into your lost units pile. And yeah, we'll lose the house units. Alright. From this point, after that first round of combat, the attacker has the option to retreat. And then the defender has the option to retreat. They cannot move into a region with enemy forces. And they have to use a jump ship to do it. It's entirely possible that you go into a region and at the start of the combat phase, destroy your jump ship to guarantee that it doesn't get captured. But that means you have no retreat if anything happens. So let's talk about the theoreticals of continuing this fight. Got a pretty good chance to eliminate one more unit. However, Nathan's got the military to combine the 2 mercs together and just auto kill. So retreat, retreat, retreat. We are out of there. So much for that. Retreat back to Matar. Now, if the combat had actually gone successfully, the leader would be captured. It is a mercenary leader, so I think they just get executed. Just in case. But let's remember, captured leaders are moved instantly to the enemy capital. They can be killed by controlling player at the beginning of any turn phase. It's possible to ransom them away. They can't be ransomed for more than 40. Yeah. If you attack a manufacturing center, there's a possibility that you damage it. If you roll an 8+, then it's damaged. Your original attacking force strength You have the option to do it. You don't have to use it, but if you do, it's um, divide by 5, round up, and -1. So it's basically how it is. So 1 to 5 is a modifier of 0, 6 to 10 for a +1, and so on and so forth, up to a max of +4. So let's say we'd gone into a manufacturing center on a with 15 strength. It's a +2. No, we don't hurt it. After all the combats are done, it's possible for the tech scale to start swinging. So here's what you need to be paying attention to for the damage you do to someone's technology. If you take out a regional, capital, or manufacturing center, it's -2. If you take out a house capital, it's -5. If you do damage to a manufacturing center, it's -1. If you build a new manufacturing center, it's +1. If you repair your manufacturing center, it's +1. If you take or retake a regional capital, +2. If you capture an undamaged manufacturing center, +1. So trying to capture manufacturing centers intact can really be critical to victory. Okay. After adjusting technology, you will deploy your new units. So, any manufacturing centers that were shiny at the start of the turn and under your control, that's where you get to deploy what you build. If you want them to move, hopefully you've got a jump ship nearby to swing in, pick them up, and then drop them off, or already there at the start. If you're really thinking ahead, you built a jump ship too, but those are expensive. And finally, you'll count up your region values and your admin values, and that's how much money you'll get. And that's the next player's turn. Turn order: Liao, Merrick, Steiner, Kurita, Devian. Alright, so here's some other stuff that can come up in the process. First off, bidding on the periphery states. The Mercenaries Federation, the Bandit Kingdoms, the Outworld Alliance. You just declare your intention to do it on your turn. And then, crying out loud. You start the bid, and it goes around until everybody passes or someone has the high bid. Once you have the high bid, you put your control counter there, and from then on, you can move and fight with that state's forces. They cannot be rebuilt once they're lost. And you don't really get any other bonuses out of them other than just more people to fight with and an extra 1 capacity jump ship. Other stuff. Comstar. So, something else you can do on your turn is Uh, pay 5 million C-bills and roll on the Comstar interdiction table. If you roll a 1 to 3, they turn against you, and your forces are at a -2. Um, if you roll a 4 to 9, the enemy forces in that region are at a -2. If you roll a 10, they decide both sides suck and deserve to fail, and you're both at -2. There will be cards that give you a give someone a -2. Uh, Attacking Terra puts you under house-wide interdict. Um, you're at a -2 for the remaining turn, and all your units wherever. Um, it lasts for the rest of the turn. So, but if you can eliminate Comstar, then taking over Terra gives you an immediate +10 to your tech and 25 million C-bills. It is a pain in the ass to pull off, but if you can do it, cool. Uh, Speaking of bribing people, you can bribe leaders. You have to spend 10 million C-bills to do it. You roll against their loyalty. If you roll over their loyalty, then they become counter to uh, their own house forces. They can reduce strength by their power. They can break up combinations. What else? It can reduce the taxes of a region by their administration. Uh, if you do this while they're in combat, after the first round of combat, any house units that are still there, or loyal, any friendly units, uh, can just kill them, just to be on the safe side. Otherwise, if they survive, they're captured. Either way, you're down a leader. If a mercenary leader is bribed, their entire force switches sides. And if they're currently in a formerly friendly region, then they'll have to fight. Bribes can be paid during any player's turn or phase of the game, and are best announced at the time when they'll do the most good. Yeah. Mercenary units without leaders can only change sides if a specific card's drawn. It's possible to get the contract ends card and make mercenaries stop working for someone. In which case, hopefully they're in a region with a jump ship and no units loyal to that house. Otherwise, there's going to be a fight. And yeah, I think that's going to be it. So yeah, you'll just spend your turns spending your money on new stuff, expanding your territory, taking over new regions, and capturing manufacturing centers, trying to get your tech up, and just trying to get control of the house capitals or capture the leaders to shut them down. And then if you can just get the capitals and win, cool. It's entirely possible the game will go on long enough that at some point you're going to have to call it. I'm not sure what the best procedure for end game we need to have just kind of a final score, like right now. Presumably at the end of Davian's turn, because that gives every player an equal number of turns. I'd imagine holding on to your house capital, holding on to your regional capitals, holding on to manufacturing centers, holding on to your leaders. Whether or not you took Terra, and depending on how far along you got on the tech track. Oh, yeah, that's the thing I forgot to cover. So the exact stuff that'll happen when you're at certain levels of technology. Just a general idea. It'll affect your prices for building or rebuilding a house unit or rebuilding mercs. It'll give you a one-shot per combat bonus, possibly 2 one-shot bonuses, or improve all your mechs or make them worse if you're low enough. There's at maximum tech, you have hyperspace communications mastery. All leaders may add their combat ability to an attack regardless of whether the leader is present in a region. If you've got some high combat rating leaders, which will be wow, not a whole lot. I guess if you're Davian or Liao, then it's probably going to be the most effective for you. But yeah, ultimately, this is just a gigantic intergalactic meat grinder of war and destruction. I mean, is it any surprise the way things ended the way they did? Anyway, the other scenario. So, in addition to the 30-25 order of battle, there's the 27-86 scenario. The leaders are double-sided. The other side of the leaders will be used for that time period. There are no periphery state or Comstar units on the board unless somebody plays card number 15. You have to put all your strength into destroying manufacturing centers. Jump ships can be destroyed as well. Jump ships are destroyed instead of captured. Mercenary units don't start in play. They come into play at the first round. Each player will bid on mercenaries. And then each player's turn, that player will put a mercenary up for bid. Otherwise, you start with regular house units. You might start with some extra areas like Lothon and Kessel. Start with Steiner. Let's see. Where is it? Let's see. Merrick. Shanna. Let's see. Crux. Oh, there we go. Crux. Nevela. York. Bolon. Start with Merrick. And I think Lao's extended out this way a little further. Yeah. That one's probably even more of a meat grinder. So yeah, why do I like this game even though it's almost as old as I am? And there's a shit ton of pieces. And this is an archaic game. It's an interesting piece of BattleTech lore in terms of game releases. There's a lot of stuff that could be done to improve it in terms of, I don't know, having something to actually track your total tax rate. Because right now I'm just using dice to not go insane. I do like the paper money. This is probably one of the rare times I like the paper money. This and Firefly both did paper money really well, I think. Um, but there's just the whole madness of this 5-way fight with potential to improve your tech or see it tank to the Stone Age. The idea of mercenaries flaking out on the people who paid for them. Just get an event card. Oh, there's another challenge. Try playing the game without the event cards. See how much rougher that game is. But yeah, it's a weird part of BattleTech history, and it could use a little more polish. But I still want to play this game with somebody. So yeah, Succession Wars. Good luck finding a copy for a reasonable price. I got a bit of a deal on it, but it's still in the upper section between 100 and 200. But still, I'm just happy to have a piece of BattleTech history and another Interstellar Conquest game because I seem to enjoy those way too much. All right, thanks for watching. It's been Pillar. I'll see you next time.